Nashville, Tennessee. At Tight End University, TU, famously nicknamed the gold furnace for aspiring tight ends, an electrifying moment recently captured the attention of football fans across the country. Travis Kelce, the veteran superstar of the Kansas City Chiefs, did more than just share his experience. He became an unofficial coach, setting the lecture hall ablaze with energy. A viral photo making the rounds on social media shows Kelce standing with authority at the front of the class, pointing toward a large screen that displays a key play from an NFL game. At the center of the field on screen, the iconic Chiefs logo is clearly visible, a play in which Kelce himself made a memorable impact. Though dressed simply in a black TU shirt, his body language and confident presence echoed that of a seasoned NFL coach. Unlike any ordinary classroom, TU is not a traditional college. Founded in 2021 by Travis Kelce, George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers, and former Carolina Panthers star Greg Olsen, Tight End University is an elite training initiative dedicated to shaping the next generation of tight ends. The position demands not only physical power and technical skill, but also sharp tactical thinking and exceptional game awareness. This year, nearly 80 student-athletes from various college programs gathered for a special session focused on tactical analysis, led by none other than Kelce himself. The intensity and insight he brought to the room had the aspiring pros hanging on every word, eager to absorb the nuances of one of football's most complex roles. At TEU, this wasn't just a class, it was a master class. And for these students, it was a rare opportunity to learn from a legend who continues to redefine the tight end position every time he steps on the field. For the students packed into the lecture hall that day, it wasn't just another guest speaker event. It wasn't even just a football class. It was something entirely different, something electric. When Travis walks into the room and starts talking, the whole place lights up. One student said, still visibly moved by the experience. Every sentence, he says, is filled with energy. You feel it. It's not just what he says, it's how he says it. The Travis Kelce who stood in front of the room that day wasn't wearing shoulder pads or celebrating in an end zone, but he commanded the room just as powerfully as he does on the field. What struck the students most was not his 3 Super Bowl rings, his All-Pro titles, or his status as one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history. It was his presence, authentic, humble, and fully engaged, from student to star, and back again long before he was a household name. Kelce was a college athlete himself. A student at the University of Cincinnati, he knew the grind, the early practices, late-night film studies, and the pressure of balancing academics and athletics. That's part of what makes his return to the classroom so meaningful. Now, standing in front of a new generation of aspiring players, many from programs like the University of Tulsa and the University of Texas, Kelce wasn't there to boast. He was there to teach. This isn't about tricks or flashy plays, he told the students. This is about the why behind the moves. Football is chess. You have to read the board. In one session, he broke down a catch he made at Arrowhead Stadium, walking students through each step from the split-second decision-making to the body positioning, the eye contact with the quarterback, and the subtle footwork that turned a routine play into a game-changer. We have to know when not to run too fast, Kelce explained. Sometimes, patience is what fools the defense. That line struck a chord. Students weren't just learning plays, they were learning philosophy. The idea that in a game defined by speed and aggression, the most powerful weapon can be restraint. That a board full of grit behind Kelce. The whiteboard was covered with hand-drawn symbols, arrows and phrases, size, speed, stiff, and more. There was no PowerPoint, no scripted slideshow. Just a marker, a board, and a mind that seemed to work 5 plays ahead. He spoke in plain language, cracked jokes, and occasionally burst into hearty laughter that filled the room. It wasn't a lecture, it was a conversation, an invitation to step into his world and see football the way he does, not as chaos, but as choreography. You could tell he wasn't just going through the motions, one tight end student recalled. He was locked in. He made you feel like what you had to say mattered. I didn't expect that. A star without pretense Kelce's fame could easily create distance. But in this setting, he broke it down. There was no security detail standing by, no ego. He stayed after the talk, answering questions, sketching routes on napkins, even throwing a few mock passes. In the hallway point, one student said, "I didn't think an NFL star like Travis would take the time to stand and talk, to give such detailed instructions." But he did, and he gave it all, with his whole heart. Another added, "The atmosphere in that room, you just had to be there. It wasn't formal. Travis made people believe that if he could do it, so could we. Not only the students, but also other colleagues like George KD and Greg Olson sat and listened with obvious admiration. Olson, who coached at TEU several seasons ago, even joked on Instagram. Kelce just won the title of TEU's favorite professor without a vote. Inspiration beyond the field. The lesson that day was not just about running routes or read coverage tactics. It was also a message to the new generation about passion, hard work, and the spirit of never giving up. Kelce recounted how he was underestimated early in his career. His early years in the NFL were not smooth, with many injuries and doubts, but thanks to constant learning, a spirit of improvement, and a love for the game, Kelce gradually rose to become an irreplaceable symbol for the Kansas City Chiefs. "No one is born perfect, but you can choose to be better every day," he shared at the end of the presentation, leaving many students emotional. The journey continues to, and the future of tight ends. After the class, many young players linger to ask more questions, seek personal advice, or simply shake hands with their idols. Travis, in no hurry, continued to stay for nearly an hour to chat and take pictures with each one.